Wow, we are hearing amazing news in our changing dynamic media landscape that I'm pretty happy about. And that news, of course, is that the dying dinosaur establishment bootlicking, brown-nosing media is in decline. Specifically, top progressive website, Think Progress, which, by the way, was started by no one other than John Podesta himself. Yes, Spirit Cooking, Hillary Clinton connected. John Podesta, Hillary Clinton's right-hand man, started Think Progress. And the site is allegedly bleeding cash on people. And it's not only them. It's Vice, it's CNN, it's MSNBC. There's a changing time in our current way of life that is amazing, but also at the same time pretty scary, since we know creatures, systems, institutions, when they're dying, this is usually when they are the most erratic, irrational, unsafe, and unstable. And that's why in this video, I want to talk about the media decline in context to what's happening now. And before we do that, I sincerely wanted to thank all the individuals who are supporting us without even any money. You could actually support us with no money at all by downloading a privacy-focused browser like Brave, or even using a privacy-focused search engine like Presearch, which link will be in the description below, which is an amazing tool which you could set up to Scroogle, DuckDuckGo, CoinMarketCap, Twitter, Facebook, to easily search anything at any moment, which of course is determined by how you want your data used and chosen, with of course you being rewarded with cryptocurrencies. You, by simply using this platform, will help support this independent media organization and also enrich yourself with cryptocurrencies, which I think is an awesome freaking idea. This new day and age, which is needed right now because of the censorship, because of the dying media, because of the dying establishment, this is why we, of course, are directly under attack for calling it out. And again, we're only here because of your support and your donations, because we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. So thank you once again for supporting us, even now, without even the possibility of money. So yeah, first, I think it's important to document the utterly critical, deadly, fatal condition that the establishment media is in right now. And of course, the headlines tell you the story in itself, with of course CNN facing massive layoffs. Recently, 100 employees even accepting a quote voluntary buyout. All of this, which of course Brian Stetler denied, but has been actually proven true, again showing just how fake news he actually is with his word vomit, trying to spin the actual financial trouble that this activist quote media organization is in. The same goes for Vice, which recently, just as of 2 days ago, had their main show, Vice News, canceled by HBO, with their partnership ending, being terminated, and of course not renewed, which is no surprise since they even had to get $250 million in debt funding from, of course, George Soros himself. And they have been the epitome of a George Soros mouthpiece activist organization that plays on the racial divides in our country, pushing, of course, a dangerous far left divide and conquer agenda for, of course, the billionaire globalists himself. And yeah, it doesn't matter. It's not just George Soros. Disney even admitted their $400 million investment into Vice is now absolutely worthless. And this is absolutely not a surprise at all, especially when you look at Vice, the media organization, and the bigger activist agenda that they are pushing. Things that they think are edgy and relatable, like this one. Bisexual woman explains why they hate being unicorn hunted for threesomes. Again, this is absolute nonsense that is just being thrown and shoved down your throats, that has no relatability to the most common average person. That is just absolutely insane. Look at this. Dating a drag queen is and they wonder, why'd we lose so much money? Look, why is this investment worthless? Because your product is worthless. It is trash. It is pushing an agenda. It is not authentic. It is not real. It is bought and paid for by special interests, by billionaires who are pushing an agenda that people are seeing through. And that's why less and less people are saying, hey, yeah, that I'm going to actually sit down and watch this propaganda, which is engineered and pushed on me by, of course, people who want to profit off of my suffering or my delusion or my emotional distress, which these organizations cause. And of course, other just absolute idiots in the industry like CNN and MSNBC are just running with it, because for a short term, just like any kind of drug addict, for a short term, that high feels great. And they're going to keep doing it because at first the shock value gets them attention, gets them viewers, gets them readers, gets people saying, hey, what is CNN talking about over there? They walk over to them because finally the screaming lunatic is able to galvanize someone actually giving them a moment of their time. But it's not for what they think. It's not because they're legitimate news organizations, but it's because they scream like absolute lunatics in the middle of the streets. And of course, people will look and they think that people look at them screaming about nonsense, like this whole Russian collusion, by the way, that they think that this is somehow good, and they run with it, and they get addicted to the attention, and they will go at it at all costs to, of course, its detriment. CNN, MSNBC, their ratings still have not recovered, and they're going down after, of course, it came out that there actually was no Russian collusion, a fake news story that they were running with based on an agenda on special interest intelligence agencies that, of course, they didn't question. And very few people had the gall, had the nerve. I could pretty much name them off of my head. Pretty much Michael Tracy, Tim Pool, Glenn Greenwald, Stuxenhammer, and WeAreChange here as an independent news organization were one of the few people who didn't support Donald Trump cold-heartedly, who weren't for Donald Trump, who didn't campaign for Donald Trump, who didn't wear those MAGA hats, who actually said, hey, this whole Russian collusion thing is an absolute scam. It's an absolute distraction. It is absolutely fake news. Of course, all of us got attacked for it. All of us got accused of being fake news by these same establishments who were running with these talking points that were all based off lies. And of course, their ratings are crashing because of that. And just as I mentioned before, as Tim Pool said it here, far left, so-called progressive, Hillary Clinton-controlled news organizations like Think Progress and Vice run with nonsense, which of course is just regurgitated by other supposed mainstream media establishment news organizations because they think this is what will give them clicks. This is the same thing that's happening right now with CNN and the New York Times, which again just ran fake news based on no evidence with a story, if you actually read it, contradicts its actual headline. But people, of course, predominantly don't read headlines. And what matters here is agenda. What matters here is its power. What matters here is clicks. What matters here is the individual's power that they get from the rage clicks. And these people are not just delusional, but they're also extremely entitled, just like we recently saw with Vox employees walking out from the job, demanding, of course, wages that are above market value, which they were actually even able to get. And actually knowing some of these individuals, they have absolutely no idea what hard work means. A lot of them literally sit around all day on Twitter rage baiting people, trying to say the most outrageous thing, waiting for Donald Trump to send out a tweet so they could jump on it with their latest negative, sarcastic bullcrap hot take so they could get enough retweets when they fail to even understand that their stuff is overplayed. Their stuff is outdated. Their stuff is something that the general public does not relate to. They're living in a parallel alternative universe on social media in their own echo chambers, feeding their delusion to the extreme where it's becoming dangerous on many levels, because this danger is actually leading, of course, to the destruction of free speech online, as we see them pressure and start campaigns and start pretty much activist calls to wipe out their competition, which is independent creators. Again, just making problems out of nowhere because they know it will generate clicks, it will generate revenue for them, and supposedly in their delusional grandeur, they think that somehow, some way, they are still somehow journalists, when in reality, they're just dangerous lunatics that are only becoming more dangerous because of the weaponization of social media by not people, special interests. Again, this is the bigger takeaway that people need to understand here. Because personally, I do believe that special interests do play a bigger role in here than just some of the psychological weaknesses that, of course, other people prey on. That's my take on it, but what do you think? I would love to have your comments. I would love to have your feedback in the comment section below. I always appreciate constructive criticism. Call me Putin. Say my nose is big. Say I'm losing my hair. I don't care. I love it. I appreciate the engagement that you guys give me because, again, I realize as a creator, as someone that you guys hold responsible to inform you, that I am working for you. I'm not working for multinational corporations, special interests, or big governments. I'm working for you because you guys, at the end of the day, pay my bills. If you want to know where someone is coming from, understand who pays them. And predominantly, our revenue, our main source of income is your small-time donations. And again, hey, I forgot one more time. Hey, you could do that without even donating any money. So appreciate all of you amazing human beings. Stay tuned for more here on WeAreChange.org.